Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
And, good morning. I paused there, didn't I? I was wondering whether to characterize it as such, but then decided it was really sort of a generalized idiomatic expression, and, you didn't have to necessarily agree that it was, in fact, a good morning. But here we are, and I guess that means it's a good morning. It's January 12th. It's 2021, and it's a Tuesday, and I think Susan maybe will be on the line.
I am, but that's not what good morning means. It's not a descriptor. It's a wish.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
a wish for the other person to have a good morning.
Yeah. Okay.
You aren't walking by and going, "It's a good morning."
Well,
you are walking by, nodding your head, and in effect wishing the other person a good morning. That's what makes it a friendly greeting.
I see. But it would be, all right, never mind. It's silly. It's just that I almost choked on it. I thought, good morning. You're right, Susan, as so often is the case. Now,
I wouldn't have brought it up, but.
Yeah, now, I had an opportunity yesterday to engage in full-blown rants, which I did. I don't know. I'm a little worn out. I don't know if I have a lot left to say. That's absurd, too. Well, the good news is Sheldon Adelson is dead.
I know. I can't believe you said that. But that's exactly. I looked at it, and I felt this slow smile coming over my.
I know. What
face.
An awful, awful, awful human being who used his god awful wealth in the worst imaginable ways. I know you're not supposed to, enjoy the death of somebody, but just the sight of him made me crazy. Anyway, and for those of you who think we will burn in hell for having said that, well, guess what? I don't think so.
Right. Right. I mean, we're just agreeing with God.
Yeah. Although we're disagreeing with his timing. I mean, he could have taken him out taken him in, or as they say in all the obits,
welcomed him home.
Yes, given him his wings. Jesus. All right, never mind. Speaking of Jesus, though, really seriously, I just want to say something that is so clearly true. And if we're going to, as a country, come to terms with where we are and where we've been for some time, actually, and what's really happening here and what endangers us, then we've got to be able to acknowledge and say out loud and come to terms with that the gravest danger to the nation is inside the nation. It is domestic terror, and it is white Christian nationalism. That is worse than Muslim extremism. Man, seriously, the Christian nationalists have do you not agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with it.
Okay.
I would just. Why aren't you just adding white supremacist?
Well, it's the same because it's white Christian nationalists is okay. Another term for
it's the racists and anti-Semites.
Yeah, it's the white.
Yeah.
All of it. No, they're, and I guess what, and I recall that in the definitely the first year of Barack Obama's presidency, his Department of Homeland Security came out with a memo or something, and in it they suggested that domestic terror, that exactly these kinds of groups were a grave threat. They might have even said the greatest threat. And do you remember all hell broke loose? All hell broke loose. Republicans clutching pearls and fainting, editorial boards all over the country going berserk, and in a, I thought, craven display, the Obama administration withdrew it, backed away. They were right.
Right.
And that was almost, what was that? That was 12 years ago.
Right.
So 12 years ago, they're already saying, hey, guys, I know 9/11 happened, and that's uppermost in our heads, and I know that they do pose a threat, but the greatest threat in this country.
Tell Blue to knock it off.
Can you hear that? He's here today, and I have to say, I wasn't going to even mention. You can hear that?
Well, he's knocking something around.
He's got his little green ball, and he's knocking it around. And normally, I've made, someone comes and gets him right before the show starts and takes him for a walk and brings him back after the show. And today that's not happening because Blue had a little visit to the emergency vet yesterday. Yes. And he is now, I wish you could see this, he has placed the green ball on my lap and he is staring up at me with great expectation. And none of this was easy because he's got one of those ridiculous.
He's got a cone on. Oh no.
He's pathetic, and he's bumping into walls and furniture with it, and it's just the saddest thing ever. But yeah.
But he's playing with a ball. When you put one of those things on my dog, he stands in the corner and doesn't move for days. It's like I have to take it off.
Well, this dog, and now he's managed to get it under the couch, which means you're going to hear a lot of, he's screwed it up. So, yeah, oh, God. So I'm a little distracted, too, because it's so pathetic. I can't stand it. Anyway, he's going to be fine, and oh, my God, he's forcing okay, I'll stop. Nobody cares. Okay, I'm trying not to look, but he's brought it over again. Oh, God, he'll get weary and leave. What got me thinking about this, I was just reading an article about, some of the people that were there and some of what they said to reporters.
We aren't those people.
No,
everybody around me was very peaceful, but I'm here to save my president and my country and my Lord.
Right. Here is one saying that she came because her pastor, and now when I say, the white Christian church, and it's not all of them, God knows, because there's some wonderful white Christian churches, but there are far too many that are part of this movement, and they tell their flock, as she said her pastor told her, that she must participate and she must go to Washington to stop the steal. And she was totally certain that she is fighting evil. And then she said, and we are tired of being made out to be these horrible people.
Isn't that political speech by a religion?
Oh, please, yeah. And it's been going on forever, and they pay no taxes. And if the IRS were to be serious, all of those churches would be told, you either cut the political crap or you're paying taxes, okay? You think of all the ways we look the other way at laws, right, that we have passed. And much of it is to allow people like this, white people, to behave, to flout the law. And they've gotten the message that the law does not apply to them. I was watching, again, just one part of the violence, and it was of a group breaking through these Capitol Hill police and getting through a door. And they played it on, and I mean, it took a long time, and it was face to face with these people screaming at these cops, and the cops just saying, stop, as if that's going to do anything, but they were.
It's all they had.
It's all they had.
Unless they wanted to shoot him in the face, which frankly they should have done.
Exactly, unless they were armed. Now, I'm going to assume some of those guys had guns.
Yeah, they did.
And and then I'm going to say something that a million people have said before. I imagined that those people I was seeing pushing at those cops were black or lefties, young people, and they would have been dead. And it's that kind of white privilege extends to not being killed by police in the commission of a true crime. We know that black people get killed by police for doing nothing, for driving in their car, for walking down running through a neighborhood, for whatever. And white people can, with impunity, break the law and suffer no consequence. I just, one guy, here's another quote. I know the Lord has my back, no matter what. Trump could possibly now be the last president to believe in Jesus. As if he does. Not to mention that the president who's coming in goes to church every Sunday and is a believer. Their heads are just polluted with lies.
Well, yeah, I mean, Democrats are dangerous. I mean, the most left person in Congress is like moderate, according to what happens in Europe. I mean, this is just craziness, and it's just really.
Okay. Yeah. But the craziness is a clear and present danger to the survival of our nation.
Absolutely.
The craziness has grown.
No, and has to be absolutely and specifically and continually named and punished, named, charged, and punished, all the way up through Congress. You can't walk away from it. You can't walk away from it. I've been saying this now for a while. But we have to impeach. Who cares how it comes out? You have to do these things because otherwise there aren't any consequences. You have to try and get out all those people in Congress that acted in a seditious manner. You have to.
Well, the reality is that it's most of the members of the Republican caucus in the House, 126 of them. And I was just reading something that one of them said last month while talking to his constituents. And get this, he was telling them to call their representatives and to call their senators and to tell them in no uncertain terms, and I am quoting now, this is a congressman from North Carolina, if you don't support election integrity, I'm coming after you. Now,
that's threatening his constituents?
No, he's telling his constituents to threaten others.
Them. Oh, okay. Got it.
And there are tons. I mean, you can go through what these guys have said and continue to say. And the fact that they continued to say stuff that fed the big lie, that fed this assault on the U.S. Capitol, which was intended, of course, to be a coup d'etat and to be a murderous terrorist event. I lost sight of where I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even interrupt.
No, my own head did. I'm going to blame it on the dog who walked by.
Well,
my God, he's reversed his thing. It now looks like he's wearing a cape.
He's turned it inside out.
How did he do that? Damn. All right. Okay. Well, whatever.
Well, that's a more entertaining thought anyway. But yeah, I mean, no, you have people that have actively encouraged acts of violence and threats and encouraged people to threaten other sitting representatives. I mean, the whole thing, just going back to the way it began with Hawley, talking about Pennsylvania like it's any of his damn business.
And it was lies he was spouting.
And it was, well, no, what was very interesting about Hawley, because I started listening, he doesn't say that he believes anything that he's saying. He's saying,
other people
repeatedly, other people believe this and they deserve to be heard. He has never once said he believes it.
Right. And Cruz did the same thing. It's like, there are these allegations and people believe them. Now, why do people believe them?
Because you won't tell them that they're lies.
Because you, in fact, are spreading them. That's right. And even after they stormed the people that listened to them, even after they stormed the Capitol, murder, mayhem, the Republicans got up after they'd been let out of their safe spaces. They got up
and picked right
voted,
up from where they left off. Yeah.
And voted to not accept the votes from Pennsylvania and from Arizona. And they would have done Wisconsin and Michigan if they'd gotten around to it. And what they were doing is telling America that what had incited the horrible thing that had incited those people to take such drastic action was true. Yep. The election was fraudulent.
Right. Otherwise, why would they vote that way?
Right. So they should all be out.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
And I do have here, and I'm sure we're now learning our Constitution better. Amendment 14, Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative of Congress, and I'm going to skip because it goes on, or hold any elected position, any state legislature. That would totally empty out, by the way, the Pennsylvania state legislature. On and on. No person shall
Have they seated that guy yet? Speaking of which, have they seated the?
No. No person shall have done any of these things. I mean, shall have this power that they have if they have engaged in insurrection or rebellion or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. Okay. They've sure as hell given aid and comfort, all of them, by spreading the lie that the election was fraudulent. It's in black and white. I could argue it in front of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
They shall not hold they shall be removed if they've given aid or comfort to the enemies of this nation. And unfortunately, the enemies of this nation constitute over 1/3 of the nation. So anybody who thinks this is a one-off, oh, this terrible thing happened, and as the Republicans are now saying, we need to move on, we need to move on. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We have all these insurrectionists.
You can't listen, they're saying that because if they say anything else, then the mob turns on them. They have created a mob that will turn around and eat them, so now they're trapped by their own mob, and we're trapped by the fact that they're trapped.
That is
they
exactly
all need
right.
to be thrown out.
They're terrified. They are terrified.
And they're parsing their words so carefully. Gallagher, I'm reading what's in the Green Bay paper here, the Republican here, who was out denouncing everything that was happening at the Capitol, and now, just as usual, just wants to step right over it and go, to do anything about it will just encourage more violence, he is heard to say. And I'm thinking, absolutely right. It will encourage violence against you and your family because that's who you chose to harness to get what you wanted.
That's right. So, yeah, we know they've created this monster, this violent, crazed base. They're terrified of them because they know they're so nuts that enough of them will, in fact, act on what they're saying. And we do know that they're openly planning more. I mean, why are state capitals all over this country now boarding up windows, putting up fences? Because they know the threat is real, and they know this insurrection is not over. What we saw on Wednesday was, the first battle.
Yeah, it was the shot over the bow,
Yeah, it's absolutely the first battle. These people are bound and determined. And we turn our back on that threat at risk to our nation. For them to have the gall to say that for Democrats to hold these people accountable is further dividing the nation.
Right.
When dividing the nation is their game plan and has been for how long?
They divided the nation. They need to be punished for it. That's all we're doing. We are holding all people accountable to the laws of our nation. Each person accountable to the laws of our nation. White people accountable to the laws of our nation. Our government accountable to the laws of our nation. It's what we deserve. It's what we expect, and we should get it. We shouldn't feel bad about it. We shouldn't apologize for it. We should just demand it.
Yeah. Here's a state senator, one of our fine people in Harrisburg. His name is Doug Mastriano. And he said right before the siege began that he called to overturn the election. He called it a death match with the Democratic Party. And he went on with more and more violent rhetoric and compared his attempt to overturn the election to the brave Americans who fought the terrorists on Flight 93, who we should remember. That's the plane that then crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. They were keeping those terrorists from flying that into the U.S. Capitol. And here he is. This is an office holder in Pennsylvania, comparing the murderous mob that we saw on Wednesday to those patriots aboard Flight 93 who risked their own lives and lost their lives trying to save the Capitol, as opposed to trashing the Capitol, urinating in the Capitol, defecating in the Capitol, smearing their feces in the Capitol. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I wake up every morning and get mad again. I mean, and I think a vast majority of the country feels the same way.
Yeah.
It's sort of interesting. I mean, our mother can't stop watching news because it's like watching a car accident. You can't turn away.
Yeah, I had turned away from, watching, and I have it on all the time now too. It's like I need to know the stakes are too high.
I wake up in the middle of the night to make sure that nothing's happened in the middle. Yeah, I can't go back to sleep if I don't check.
Yeah, and of course these Republicans who just can't find enough ways to kill Americans. When we now know that 2 members of Congress have tested positive after being stuck in very tight situations when they were being protected from the mob that was rampaging through the Capitol. They were stuck with Republicans who refused to put on masks.
That were even offered to them. Come on.
They were offered masks. They refused. So you had a room in which Democrats had masks on and Republicans did not. And you can bet everybody was talking and phoning. And so there was all this spewing of stuff into the air. And I mean, and that was, of course, a super spreader event as well, that this wonderful insurrection in general it was. I just did you see the First Lady finally said something?
Oh, yes.
Melania.
Yeah.
She says, my heart goes out to, and the first person her heart went out to?
Mm-hmm.
The woman
right.
was trying to break into the Capitol, broke into the Capitol, and unhappily was shot. Her heart
should have happened. Yeah, I mean, right. And the only reason she said anything is because she was getting bad press for her having her photo shoot.
Yeah, doing a photo shoot while this was going on, and people were begging her to try to intercede with her husband,
who was watching live TV like we were and couldn't be bothered. Didn't realize that he was a player here and he was supposed to do something. He was enjoying it.
Isn't it something?
It was working just out fine,
Mm-hmm. He was thrilled, according to some people who couldn't believe what he was seeing. Worked better than he thought it would. Well, I don't know what are we going to do with all these people, and I do fear that the Democrats are not going to be as tough as they should be. Because if you let these Republican members of Congress go back to their, if you don't have them somehow, at least censured, I don't know.
Tough. They were just almost murdered. They were offered up as cannon fodder by their president, and they're pissed. If you don't think they're not pissed and feel it very personally, I think you're wrong. I think that they will carry. I hear it in their voices when I'm listening. They're not pleased.
No, they're not pleased.
And they don't think it was just another day at the office.
Well, I sure as hell hope that here's the problem. So let's say they were to expel these people. Even now in the Senate, that could have an impact. But in the House, let's say they do. These people, these 100+ people in the House that aided and abetted, they come from districts that
we'll put in another one. That's right. That's
maybe
their
even
right.
worse.
That's their right to be represented. But those people that acted in a seditious way and broke our laws are not allowed to further represent them. They might get somebody else who feels just the same way and do it. And if they can do it within the laws of the United States, then their views can be properly represented. But if part of that is to do what these did, sorry, you're not allowed to do it anymore. It just doesn't matter. I don't think that parsing what happens if is the right thing to do. We've got to do what's supposed to be done, just like the knee-jerk justice that everybody that doesn't have $1 million gets. These people need the same knee-jerk justice. If A, then B. I don't care if 125 of them go and they put in 125 just like them. Let them.
Yeah. Consequence. There
the
has to be.
The power and the dreams of power of those 125 are dashed because they, excuse my language, fucked up.
I've been using the word reckoning, and there must be a reckoning. This is not something you move on from.
No.
You do not.
You don't. Or, every time anybody of color is put on trial, I'm just walking in there and going, oh, come on. You do something with him, it'll just cause more violence. You do something with her, it'll just forget it. Walk on.
We have a caller. Hello.
Hello, Lynn. Hello, Susan.
Hello.
Hi.
Remember the show Truth or Consequences?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we could use a little bit of that.
Yes.
Hey, I hope you guys don't mind if I go a little bit later for a moment.
Are you kidding? Go for it.
First of all, you got Blue there. Can you hit a couple of tunes on the piano?
Oh, come on. Really?
No, I want to hear. Ooh.
Oh, that would make us all laugh, Lynn. Go play.
All right. Okay. I'm going to try. I don't know. I don't have to. Okay. Meanwhile, keep talking while I mosey over.
Okay. Well, your call. You keep talking.
Caller?
All right, I keep talking.
Yeah. You have anything to say? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have my music out here.
Susan, did you get your big sister the Easy Flow air freshener for her mask?
No, that's not about. I need that.
Well, you should both get it.
Well,
according to their ad, it's FDA approved for 99.9.
Here we go.
Come on, Blue. There he goes.
I don't know. He's getting there.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's always good to get a request for a tune by Blue.
That was beautiful.
He didn't even know that tune. Never heard it before.
But halfway through, he got it.
Yes.
No matter, it was beautiful.
Thank you very much. Blue, thanks you.
I was watching a documentary earlier on Mark Twain.
Yeah.
In the 1800s, he said, if Jesus came back, he definitely wouldn't be a Christian.
That's right. Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Oh, man. I don't believe in. I don't believe in heaven or hell, but I've always had this wonderful fantasy of all of these, people who think they're good Christians, getting to the pearly gates and and being confronted by Jesus.
Preaching politics from the pulpit. I mean, what's going on there? You know, what's with this separation, church and state? We're not paying taxes, but we're going to tell you how to vote.
Well, it's why it's why they're given this tax break, because if they were just a political entity, then of course they should. He's all riled up now, and he's bringing all his toys over here. Thanks a lot.
Lynn, tomorrow I'm going to give you a call, and I want to ask you, what was life like on a pig farm?
Oh, okay. Well, that would be a diversion too.
Yeah, okay. I'll save that for tomorrow.
Thank you.
One last thing for Susan.
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
I got a question.
Yes.
How many Jewish grandmothers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Let me figure out a clever answer.
Nah, you can't. So
it can't be more than one, but why?
No, it has to be people superintending it. What?
The answer is none. I'll just sit here in the dark.
Oh, no, it's not. No, don't bother. I'll just sit here in the dark.
It's okay.
Don't worry about it.
No, it's okay. I don't need to read this book.
Girls.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I apologize for breathing.
Yes, it's okay. Father Joseph
that kind of grandmother. Yes, go ahead.
Father Joseph writes, white supremacists have longed for a civil war. Yes. I think the riot in the Capitol was our Fort Sumter. I absolutely agree. That is how they're perceiving it. And understand at Fort Sumter, the Confederate force shot first, by the way. This will be a cultural war, and the battlefield will be the internet, as well as public spaces. Have courage. Evil will not win, but this will be a long struggle. Once again, for those who are unfamiliar with long struggles, he's writing this as a black man in America. Once again, for those who are unfamiliar, I think he means white folks, with long struggle and are in fear, they are welcome to chat with any people of color.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, he wrote something the other day, too, in saying that, the black people in America, this is their America. This is what they have known. These frightening white mobs who law enforcement allow to rampage, who law enforcement look the other way, who even if everybody knows they lynched that man, they killed that innocent person, do not have a reckoning.
No.
They are let go. They are let go by our so-called justice. And so he's saying, he understands that a lot of us are shocked at what we have seen. And black people in America are saying, welcome, you white guys, to the America we've lived in all our lives.
Now, if there is one, anything good to come out of this, it was such a stark example of institutional racism. It's such an undeniable example of that you've just got to, you've got to take that and run and say, okay, you can't pretend like this doesn't exist anymore. There should have been 10,000 soldiers there, and if those people tried to do that, there should have been a lot of dead bodies, and nobody should have been escorted out. They would have been down on their hands with their hands behind their back and zip tied. And I thought those white buses that were coming in that were finally bringing National Guard, I thought they were there to haul people off to be arrested. But no.
But were they?
They were bringing in soldiers after it was all over.
Yeah, 3 hours later.
3 hours later. That's what those white buses were. I mean, really, nothing went the way anything you've ever seen before would have told you it was supposed to go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, do we think it was an inside job?
Oh, to some extent, absolutely. Someone had to tell them to stand down.
Someone had to tell them how to get around and where they were going.
Someone had to tell them how to get to the minority whip's office. You bet.
Somebody, apparently, they also knew about the secret tunnels.
Yeah.
Underneath. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they had information. Now, let's be clear. They all didn't have information. But there were enough people in that mob that were, in fact, fomenting a true violent action and rebellion. And a lot of others coming along with them who didn't know the plan particularly. But
I'm sorry, I think anybody that went had to know or should have known, and that happens to be a standard in the law, knew or should have known that what they were attempting to do was, and what they were being exhorted to do was against the law. And if you don't know that, here's another little legal aphorism for you. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Well, I'm worried that, in fact, you're not going to see as many arrests as you would want to see. And since they let all these people go back to their homes, are they going to be tried in their local jurisdiction?
No. They have to be tried where in the jurisdiction where the offense occurred.
Okay. We have a call. Jesus Christ. Hello?
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Susan.
Hey.
Hello.
So I don't know whether it's absurd or grotesque or both. These proclamations by the Trump appeasing Republicans, some of whom were supporting his seditious effort, that any attempt to impeach and then, if justice were actually served, convict Donald Trump would be dividing the nation
and bring more violence.
Right, and
yes.
That would be provoking more violence. So wait, so are they saying that we need to appease terrorists by shaping our laws and public policy? I wonder what's different. What's different about those terrorists?
Yeah, and it's also a form of extortion. They're saying, hey, if you go after these people as the law mandates, there's going to be more violence.
Which is almost the definition of terrorism.
Yes,
violence, the threat of violence to obtain a desired political result.
That is correct.
Now,
give me Al Qaeda any day. Jesus God.
What I also find grotesque is this notion that liberals are always the ones dismissing or holding white working class voters, especially those from small towns or rural areas, in contempt. Now, I'll certainly admit you can find examples of that. I mean, I think what's being pointed to now is Anderson Cooper's comments about the rioters going back to eat at Olive Garden, and staying at Marriott. Well, Anderson Cooper, who's the Vanderbilt heir,
and he's a New Yorker. That's just a typical New Yorker thing to say.
Right, but what is more condescending, more patronizing, and more harmful than feeding those people lies? Absolute, bald-faced lies that result in harm to them, economic harm, and in this case, some of them, many of them are going to face legal consequences.
And in fact, everybody who's dead from that was somebody who believed these lies.
Well, even the
poor cop
to death, was a Trump supporter. And look, telling them that the election was stolen, that there was fraud, which would have had to have involved thousands of people, telling them that the vice president had the power to reject certified electors. I mean, either Donald Trump is simply the perpetuator of a monstrous lie and was trying to steal the election, actually trying to steal the election, or he is so utterly delusional that he needs to be removed under the 25th Amendment. Those are the only two options. The only two options.
That's correct.
Oh, well, another argument I make for the 25th is that since he lost the election, he has done absolutely nothing.
He has not. We have not had a president. Right. We are a leaderless nation.
To address the pandemic.
Yeah.
The massive problems with the vaccine distribution, or lest we forget, the massive hacking by
the Russians.
Russia.
Well,
he's done nothing. There's been no president since he lost the election. What a quisling, Mike Pence. What a cowering, quivering worm.
It's amazing. Pence. You got it.
Riled up a crowd.
To kill him. To kill Pence. And he still won't stand against it. It is amazing because his political future is his calculation is he needs the mob that tried to kill him.
Yeah, well, he already lost them, so he might as well grow a pair and do the right thing.
Well, ain't going to happen.
But if he does that, there won't be an audience for his inevitable book, and he won't get invited on Fox News. Or he might not get a position on a think tank.
Yeah. You got to make these calculations.
At least Belichick figured it out.
Yeah, Belichick figured it out.
I almost have more contempt for Pence than I do for Trump. I mean, Trump is a jumped-up two-bit con man and thug. But Pence, that self-righteous little prick.
Okay, well, with those two characterizations, spot on.
Yeah.
I say thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Good day. Yes. Good morning. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, God. So, hey, what's going to happen to the Donald when he's just the Donald again in a week? Because Deutsche Bank, the only bank that would give him money, and the bank he owns, almost $500 million to, has now cut him off. And his other bank, the only other bank that would touch him, Signature Bank, has closed his two accounts. What the hell's going to happen?
He can't talk to anybody, and he can't tweet. He has to keep all of his billions in a suitcase under his bed, and his bed has to be in a place to be located because nobody wants to be near him. There are an awful lot of sort of nastily gloating articles about how Ivanka and Jared have no place to go, and nobody, they've just that nobody wants to have. Even the people that were hanging on at the end have just slunk away.
Well, what's wonderful in many respects is that you have this concerted effort. I know Forbes, magazine telling people do not give jobs to these people. Right. Any of these people that served in the White House wanting to come in now to the private sector with their, normally impressive resume of having held these positions, do not give it to them. We'll see how that plays out. Fox News, interestingly, Rupert Murdoch should be, speaking of people who should be on.
Right.
So Rupert Murdoch gets his Wall Street Journal to say that Trump now has gone too far. And he gets his New York Post to say pretty much the same. But his Fox News, not so much. And in fact, they're going to double down. I just saw today that they're going to add 1 more hour of opinion.
Yeah, they took off their 7 o'clock news hour and replaced it.
They're going to make it opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't know what lying insurrectionists they're going to have host that, but they're doubling down, and they'll probably get even worse because they're trying to outmaneuver these 2 upstarts, Newsmax and OANN or whatever it is. Yeah. You see, this whole system in place is not going anywhere. These churches and their pastors will still be there. The media that fed the insurrection will still be there.
And the people who think there's nothing wrong with erecting a
gallows.
structure, a gallows to hold the noose, and think that that's just a fine thing to do, they're all still there.
And they are viewing, as far as I can tell, this whole thing as a victory. It's the first victory in their war, in the Civil War, that they are intending to wage. Guys, we got a fight on our hands. And if you think we don't, if you think we can just move on, you are as delusional as these Trump people. We've got to finally stop, stand, turn around, and take them on. I have often said that the Civil War, we think the North thinks it won. We didn't win it. We sort of won it turns out it was a battle. It was a big battle, and we won that battle, I guess. And then we immediately started to capitulate because we were trying to unite the nation to the mythology of, the great lost cause, that these were not insurrectionists, that these were good Americans. And you see what we have wrought. And we never came to terms with the fact that a huge percentage of our population are murderous racists. Yep. Chris writes, it was reported that a lot more of the Republican Congress people did not want to vote against the legitimization of the Biden win, but they were scared. Mm-hmm. And so they, they're probably more terrified, obviously after the violence. And they were afraid their families would be hurt, and so that's why they voted. Well, you know what? We don't need those kinds of cowards in such an important position. Yeah.
They created this all for themselves.
Yeah. It's just classic. Create the monster, think you can control the monster, and then the monster turns on you. And you can see that monster as Donald Trump, because God knows he has shown he will turn on anybody. But the monster, too, that he created, that see him as some savior. First of all, how crazy does somebody have to be to see that horrible human being as some kind of
Messiah?
My head starts hurting. I'm I'm an empath. I can always get into people's shoes and sometimes into their heads. I can't go there. It's crazyville.
It really is. And yes, it's nuts. And that's how you know that there's something else going on here.
But that's also how you know they can't be reasoned with. You can't talk to them. And if anyone says we've got to reach out, I'll punch them, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I don't think we have to reach out or anything. I think we just need to punish them.
Yep.
Time for consequences. And the only reason it's gone on this long is because there, as you have been pointing out all hour, there have never been consequences for some of us.
No.
And there need to be consequences. I mean, someone was literally heard crying on her husband's shoulder at that thing. At that.
Yeah.
They're shooting at us. We're not black.
And they weren't shooting they were shooting tear gas at them. They're shooting at us. My God. And we're just storming the U.S. Capitol. Why would they be shooting at us? We're white people. We're white Christians. Jesus has our back. God. And I have to tell you, and I've said this yesterday, I'm not giving a pass to anybody who comes over now who has,
that's like, when McConnell was giving his speech last week and, asking everybody to, just certify the results and blah, 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 blah. And suddenly, condemning all this nonsense is nonsense. And I mean, even MSNBC is talking about the statesman-like speech. I'm going, what's that? What is that nonsense? I mean, I'm sorry, but that man was just, there was bullshit falling out of both corners of his mouth and disagreeing with itself as it came out.
Yeah. And people now saying, oh, look at all these wonderful corporations refusing to give money to these people. They're all, come on. These are all people who have aided, groups that have aided and abetted and are now just looking after number one, as usual. We've got a caller.
It's another business decision, people.
Yeah, that's right. We have a caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Hey, I shouldn't say this, but now you see how he has his followers and that. Now you see how religion got started. I think there's a lot of dumb people back then. I shouldn't say that, but you think about it. A lot of things, I'm not saying if it's true or it isn't, but you just got a lot of people that just follow. They drink the Kool-Aid, and it just keeps going on and on and on.
Right. And blind faith is blind faith.
Yes. So.
Well, it is. Yes,
I
indeed.
don't know one way or the other, and I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to cut it down or anything. But it just some of the stuff people say that I can't take is how they think that God micromanages everything here on earth. I really can't take that part of it. That part I cannot take because he did this and he did that. That's make it up as you go along. Why don't you? Because when I used to go to church, we weren't taught that way. It was more the pastor or the priest or whatever, would do the praying. It wasn't I'll pray for you or I'll pray for this person. It wasn't that back then. Now it's like everybody's a preacher, I guess, or
everybody has a personal relationship with Jesus. He talks to them. They go out for beers. It's very personal. Okay.
I can't take it.
That makes a few of us. Hey, thank you.
Okay.
We have another call.
Okay.
Thank you. But there's another call, and we're running out of time here. Hello.
Oh, it's me. And maybe I thought I should probably hang up because I don't want to upset anybody at the end of the show. But I was looking online. The maniac's on a plane to Alamo, Texas, right, 50 miles south or something of the Alamo.
Yes.
Lindsey Graham is on the plane with them.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
But he just, in going to the plane or whatever, he told reporters, he has more support than ever. He's continuing on. And that, there's no way there's going to be an impeachment because it will just anger all of his supporters.
Yes, don't impeach him. They'll come and kill you.
He's out there. He is just acting like it's business as usual.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. So I preferred him hanging out, hiding out in the in the White House. We'll see how this goes.
Here, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Unbelievable. And just to let Roger in here, he said, did you see Chris Cuomo's interview with lawyers for the guy who was carrying Pelosi's podium out? That guy's wife is a wealthy doctor. Jesus. And then she hired these two apparently really expensive lawyers who were starting they were telling Cuomo that this guy is a good guy. He just happened to walk into the Capitol. And, so we'll see if this wealthy doctor's husband who stole the
people are getting
podium.
doxxed, I mean, I'm looking at people in Chicago that went to the march. Their pictures are up on all of these sites, saying don't go to this business, don't go to this business. They'll be punished one way or the other.
Well, I've never been big for internet shaming and stuff like this, but this is different.
This is different
because this is war. This is war, and you go after them.
I don't have a problem with the consequences, especially if your actions are shameful. Right.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, why shouldn't I not go to your business?
Yeah. Well, there we go. All right, Suze, is Mom still watching CNN right now?
No, because she's still in the kitchen doing her newspaper, but soon she'll join me.
Okay.
Of course, I have to go down and bash that orange dummy around for an hour. So.
Well, geez, yeah. Someone might think you're talking about Donald Trump, but he does look a little like.
He does look like he's more handsome than Donald. Well, and he sure as hell can take a punch better.
Yes. He doesn't cry as easily and start whimpering.
And he doesn't cry or whimper or demand organic food in prison. You heard about that one, right?
Yes, I have. Oh, God. Who are this?
Yeah, getting out of work after bad names, all I have to say.
Okay. Well, thanks, Suze.
Bye.
Goodbye. And I'll be back tomorrow. God knows what I can say. Just let me, wait, I got the email just came in. This is how, for whoever sent this email, Tom, this shows how slow, I don't know when you wrote this, but it's how slow it gets to me, as I know there's like a incredible delay. And he says this: listening to you yesterday while taking my daily walk, my stride got longer and faster. Yeah, good. Oh, and tears came to my eyes. I have been listening to you since your WTAE radio days and have never been prouder of what you had to say. Your words need to be spread far and wide. Susan, she's not here anymore, you also are a voice of reason and needed humor. Bravo, ladies. Aw, geez. Well, that made my day. And thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to take this humiliated, ludicrous-looking dog out for a little bit of a walk. We'll see. The two of us both sort of damaged. We'll see how far we get. Okay, wish us luck, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.